welcome to Web of Stories. My name is Melinda and I am here with a book review today. I am talking about Truly Devious, which is a young adult novel. It is a mystery and it is the first in a trilogy called the Truly Devious trilogy that has become a series. So the first 3 books operate as a trilogy and subsequent books operate as standalones. So the setup of this book is it takes place at a boarding school in Vermont called Ellingham Academy. Ellingham Academy was started in the 1930s by an eccentric millionaire who set up this school where brilliant children can play and find their creativity. It is a very selective school, but it is also a free school, which is how you get, students from all parts of the economic spectrum. All the students there have some kind of special interest, whether it's music or art or making TV shows or building things, whatever. There's something that they're very interested in. Our main character is a young woman named Stevie, and there's one sentence in here that describes Stevie perfectly. Stevie Bell had a simple desire. She wanted to be standing over a dead body. Stevie wants to be a detective, very much like Hercule Poirot or Sherlock Holmes. She is obsessed with those sorts of mysteries, and this book, and I'm assuming the trilogy, very much pays homage to the classic detective story. So, in the 1930s, shortly after the school was opened, there was a kidnapping and murders. The wife and child and another student were kidnapped. The wife and child of the man who started the school and another student were kidnapped. The bodies of the wife and the student were later found. The body of the child never was. And this is a cold case. It has never been solved. Stevie comes to the school specifically because she wants to solve this mystery. And she does start her investigation. And in this investigation, another murder happens. I won't go further into that because the joy of mysteries is not knowing what happens. So what did I think of this book? First of all, I'm going to say this. You need to read between the lines to get what I'm saying because I don't want to be spoilery. This is the first book in a trilogy and it operates very much like the first book in a trilogy. You can take that as far as you need to. Now, that being said, I very much evaluated this book as the first book in a trilogy, which is what I think you have to do. There are a lot of things I really liked about this book. I think the setting was excellent. Like, I'm convinced Ellingham Academy exists. It's very much what you would expect from a school like that, where the student body is all these eccentric kids. These are all kids who were probably misfits in sort of the normal school. I really love Stevie as a main character. She knows what she wants to do. She wants to be a detective, and as such, she has some rather morbid desires and some interesting talents. She also comes from a family where she doesn't feel like she fits in with her family. The case in point, her parents want her to have a very traditional life. Her parents are not wild about her being at this school. And she even says at one point, the only reason she's kind of able to go is because it's free for her to go, or it's free for anyone to go, actually. And she does constantly sort of have this fear that her parents are going to pull her out of this school. I get the feeling that Maureen Johnson is making a statement about what's going on in her family. Her parents are very loving to her, so there's nothing there as far as like weird things with parents. But there is a politician that her parents really seem to admire, almost idolize, that Stevie does not. That politician does not play a big part in the story at this point. I have not read past this, so I don't know if that becomes further, but it is let's just say the politician is described as having kind of like wild hair. You can figure out who that is. And it's probably not Boris Johnson because they're in the United States. So it's someone with wild hair in the United States. So Stevie really kind of feels like she needs to be at the school. The other thing about Stevie is she suffers from general anxiety disorder. And this is not a sort of throwaway term. This is coincidental that I read this during Mental Health May. But of all the books that I ended up reading that sort of fit the criteria for Mental Health May, this is the one that I think most deserves to be on that list. The way Maureen Johnson describes what having anxiety is like actual, not just anxiety that everyone sort of experiences in life, but actual general anxiety disorder. What that feels like for Stevie is vivid and the best description I've read of that. It also plays in very well to the story. She ties that all in together, and I have to give Maureen Johnson great kudos for this. So that's a big plus for this book. I found this book very readable, very interesting. Stevie is very relatable. This was a page turner as much as I can do a page turner in late May. So I quite enjoyed it. Now, what I didn't like about this book is that there are a lot of students. It's just a school, so you have a student body to deal with. Some of the student body, I had trouble remembering who was who and how they played in with each other. There just seemed to be a cast of characters that was maybe a little too big for what is essentially, at least part of this book, is essentially a locked room murder or a locked room mystery. I felt that there were maybe a few too many characters involved in that, and I had trouble keeping a lot of them straight. Also, this is YA, and I have been honest in the past that YA is not a type of book that generally speaks to me. I didn't have problems with this one, but if you are someone who maybe YA isn't your thing, just know that it is. But also know that I am someone who, because my children are coming into the YA period of their lives and I want an escape from that, YA is not a genre that generally works, and this one worked for me. I don't want to go into details about this book because, as I said, it is a mystery. The less you know, the better. But I will say this. I didn't feel comfortable giving this book a rating because it is the first in a trilogy, but I also have to kind of give it a rating if I want to include it on Goodreads and things like that. So I gave this an A, which translates to 4 stars. The caveat that can change once I finish the entire trilogy, which I have the other 2 books right here. And I will be reading, oops, can you see them? It's The Vanishing Star in the Hand of the Wall, or in the wall? On the wall, excuse me, The Hand on the Wall. I will be reading them. I probably won't be going through them super quickly, but I hope to have the trilogy read by the end of the summer, so I can look at the trilogy as a whole. And again, this is the first book in a trilogy, and it operates as the first book of a trilogy. Those are the expectations you should have going into this book. But I really enjoyed it, and I think that this appeals to adults. I've heard great things about it, and if you are a fan of Golden Age mysteries, Agatha Christie, Dorothy L. Sayers, any of those folk, this is a book that you would probably enjoy. It is very heavily influenced by Golden Age mysteries, and it pays homage to them. So this was a good book. I recommend it. This is truly Devious by Maureen Johnson, and I will be continuing on at least in the trilogy, if not the entire series, and I will continue to review the books as I finish them. Thank you very much for joining me for this. Please give this video a thumbs up, and if you have not yet subscribed to my channel, you can do that down below. Thank you again, and I will see you in the next video.